On the outside, Transatlantic, now getting the Desert Lightning, who's fighting hard. A length behind them was Tavs. Transatlantic now pulling clear, asserting his superiority. Heavily backed and too good. Transatlantic first.
Welcome to Bet Doctor Brisvegas. I'm your host, Scoot. I've got John Walter in studio with me, and we're warming up here. It is icicles all around, so the southern states must be in big trouble. How are you, Walt?
3 degrees this morning, they said 3 degrees.
Amazing. It's not Gold Coast weather, but
it feels colder. Like, I've been in cold. It feels pretty cold. It's all right now, but it's cold this morning.
Bluebird skies and lots of dew around. GK joins us from Brisvegas. How's it up there, mate?
Freezing as well. My house is definitely not designed for this weather, so we're managing, but looking forward to some warmer weather soon.
Tell you what, my eyes sort of, as soon as I saw you in that orange kit, I thought, oh, he's in the Guantanamo Bay jumpsuit there. I thought he's been arrested for backing too many winners. Maybe after Transatlantic, you've gone for the closest thing you could find after stamping that one. That was a pretty watch.
Yeah, it was a good ride by Maloney. Just took luck out of the equation, and just from that starting point at Eagle Farm, you just had plenty of time to get across. So yeah, look, I thought it was a good ride. Obviously, the track may have helped a little bit, but I just thought it was just too good for them there.
I'll give him a scare when I put two on him around the bend up the fence.
Yeah,
and then he come back and won well.
Yeah, it was a good win, and there was some heartbreakers for me. Jolly Star over Zarastro was. Yeah, the first big blow, and then Warney, and then the other kick in the teeth is Warney's now not going to even make it. The Stradbroke, so the 100 to 1 tickets are gonzo there. It wasn't a great day for, I thought, J-Mac and Mark Zara. They both had some really interesting rides. The track was pretty diabolical at best. You found a couple of roughies, Walt, and Zazu was good for Ethan Brown good. Late.
In what was the other horse? Infancy in that race was a bit sick,
my God.
But at least Zazu stuck his nose out. Yeah, it was Eagle Farm saved my life on Saturday, that's for sure. Even for what's his name? What's his name? The thing that Tim rode, paraded like God and got out to $5. It was weird, wasn't it? Front page, yeah. It's sort of it was a late turn the tables, I think, from the parade and stuff. So it was there was a lot of weird things happening. Like I said, they were the horse that was suited up and off and getting to the right part. It's just getting a bit boring, isn't it? That you're sort of more trying to find horses, which is just the product of winter racing. A lot of the time, your form is, it's weird. You did probably go 80-20 form leading in, and by the time you come to Saturday lunchtime or a bit later, you're 80-20 pattern. So, it just happens over and again. So it's at least it's fairly predictable.
Yeah, you sent me a message privately saying at 4:44, I love Eagle Farm. I was gonna put it up as a graphic, but I was
because I don't think I might have had about 3 bets at Rose Hill or something. I think got on a bit of a late roll at Eagle Farm. It was good.
Miss Kim Carr, any excuse there?
Yeah, they went 25 below, which is never good. They just turned it into a 400-metre sit sprint, and maybe she just lost a bit of the dash out of it getting sort of up into the back sort of end of a prep. I think they just went way too slow, and the two horses that ran 1-2, I think one was 1,100 to 1,500, the other was sort of second up 1,200 to 1,500. So the fresh-legged horses came to the fore, and it's weird. It's tough because they just so often think that outside, controlling speed as slow as possible is the right way to go. And she came from last start with what seemed to turn a foot, but there was a slow section. So it's tricky to get it through connections heads that sometimes you're better off rolling along.
Yeah, it's always a bit of an asterisk too. Horses coming off heavy tracks that can gut them often.
Got plenty of that this week.
Pardon?
We've got plenty of that this week.
Plenty of heavy and wet to dry. So fascinating scenario there. Another fascinating scenario is things that are happening down at the Melbourne Racing Club. They've lost their CEO that they installed 3 months ago. Kanga's got full control. He's gone awfully quiet on social media. I'm not sure where the VRC MRC merger talks are at, but wow, some strange things happening down there. So watching with popcorn and lots of interest. I thought maybe the performance of the week came from Evie Lang, the daughter of Robbie Lang, who sadly passed away. And I'm not sure how she did it, but she's handled Media Street unbelievably well since the passing of her father. And wow, she's a shining star of the industry, and the courage that she's shown is just remarkable. So yeah, condolences to all of the Lang family and friends. And he was a quirky trainer, but he always had a horse sort of up and going, didn't he?
Yeah, and so he could win big races, couldn't he? You could get him to jump, you could get him to sprint, you could sort of get him to do everything. It was just catching him was a little bit hard at times.
Trying to figure out what he was doing.
A little bit of a random character all around, but horrible. Taken too young, and thoughts with his daughter and the family for sure.
All right, let's get stuck into the Eagle Farm program. It's going to be a belt up, but track. It's going to be drying. It'll be good for GK. The rail's out further, but how do you think it's going to play? What's your best guess?
Oh, look, I think I've said across the whole carnival that the weather has actually been fairly consistent with what we saw last year as well. So I've used how the tracks have played last year during Carnival as a pretty good guide, and it's held up really well. So I'm thinking that's going to be the case again. And Stradbroke Day last year, 4 metre rail, we saw the first couple of races that they raced close to the fence, maybe one off. A few of the winners came down, and then as the meeting progressed, we started to head to the middle, especially with those bigger fields, and lanes 1 and 2 start to chop up a little bit because there is a bit of give in the ground. So, look, I'm thinking pretty similar. So, overall, I think probably fairish, but I do think some advantage on speed. I think you want to be, I don't know if you necessarily want to be leading, but I think if you want to be somewhere within 3 lengths of the lead, so striking distance of the lead, that's really the A spot.
Not too dissimilar from last week by the sounds of it. All right, we're going to have a look at races 1, 2, 5 and the quaddie leg 6, 7, 8, 9. Walt's got a special at Gosford today, so you're going to have to fast forward if you're on a time constraint there, and I'll make sure I get the email out early for our subscribers. But let's go to race 1, Eagle Farm first. It's the Sky Racing Gunsynd Classic. Group 3, over 1,600 metres. Just Party's the favourite here. Drawn 1, Nash on, $3.30. Emirite is $3.40. Just Feeling Lucky, $5. Pisces, $6. Flying Embers, $6.50. Think Like Paddy, $17. 27 or much better. The rest for a punter, Prince Levi, and one of Donny's old horses, Moon Sweeper. You boys have both sort of locked onto the same horse here, Just Party. I'm not as excited about this race, and you sort of see Just Party back on the pink with the white cap. There's Raikkonen with the torrid run. Spicy Martini wins this race, and it was just a tricky day. It was Doomben, but this horse is just sort of running up in behind them. But tell us why you like it here, GK.
Yeah, I just think this is a complete forgive. What happened with this race, going back to Doomben, 7 metre rail, drew barrier 19 or whatever it was, so KWT went back to last. Just a mess, really. A day that it was hard to make ground, and I thought it was more than acceptable through the line there. And I just think this is a completely different setup now. Drawing low, I could see Nash potentially being, if not second pair, at worst third pair. So he's not going to be far off the lead. And I just go back to the previous runs this prep, and I just think the horse is going really well. And this is a step down in grade for me. I don't think there's a whole lot of competition here. Pisces goes okay. Emirate, I think the jury's out. I just think that this is where you have to start from. I was happy to take a price yesterday. I think it's in really well in this race, and back onto the stride deck and the bigger track, I think it's really going to suit.
It's got form proven out to 1,600 metres, so I can see the logic there. But Emirate, am I right? Weird setup this, the 1,200 metre heavy track wall, that yucky track. You got J-Mac on. It's second pick in the market.
Second up at a mile. It's never been past 1,300 before. So, yeah, it's a complete by default. Could be certainly, really. Gate 1's probably the worst thing about it. If it drew any other gate, I'd be happier, but it could easily box seat. It's just hoping that probably a punter fires up a little bit earlier and maybe puts a little bit of speed, just breaks them up a bit, which takes away the... It's just, they had 2 black eyes out of that race too last start. It coughed up quite a bit of crap as well. So that's enough for me to be forgiving. I was surprised. I thought it'd go up sort of 220, not 380 after acceptances with the favourite coming out. Pisces is a big distance query, I think, even though it was I think it was in the right, it had everything go its way last start. The start before that, Just Party was completely dominant over the last furlong. Just feeling lucky we were with it last start and in just the most ideal race possible midweek. And it's in this race 8 kilos worse than it should be compared to the top two. It's just, it can't find, Flying Ember's coming out of midways, which usually lines up with Cessnock form. Even though Cessnock's disabandoned, it's probably still lining up with that sort of form. It's just by default, like it's just can't. If you forgive last run, it's $1.50 here. So you just got to be 380 was wrong, 320, 330 still wrong, probably 250, something like that's more realistic, even if you're not overly forgiving. So I just think it's a bit of an auto bet, and obviously Nash back on KWT off is a positive as well. And hopefully things go to plan.
Beautiful. You can just ship the first favourite and pack up and take the missus out for a late lunch if you want, or you can just play up your winnings or a bit of multi-madness early in the day. So stars align there with race 1, Just Party over the mile. Should be strongest late, the boys say. Eagle Farm Race 2, it's the Channel 7 Wayne Wilson listed 1,600 metre race, and Transatlantic's favourite here on the quick backup if he doesn't gain entry into the Stratty, which is looking unlikely at this stage. $2.20 favourite, Demon Darb $5.50, Pier $6, Waterford $9, Matcha Latte $11, $13 Tenzing, $16 Unspoken, Cranky Harry $31, scratch last time when I tipped him up. And then you got a Tractable 34 and Sabark $35.81, the next best. We'll have a quick look at the replay of Transatlantic, and it was a great Ryan Maloney steer, as we referenced early, in the red with the yellow cap. Just pushed him across from the wide gate and sort of sat in the gun one out, one back spot, and was just too strong and just had a superior turn of foot here, who Desert Lightning might have just been labouring under the big weight there, and in the inferior ground you got Fukubana sort of diving in late, and Tavs was there with him. I thought the danger here was probably Pier. It's in the Aussie Kahir colours, back on the fence with the blinkers, and I sort of like this effort despite being in sort of rails in run, which is the place to be there at Doomben. Sort of just keeps whacking away and looks like a horse to me that 1,600 metres is going to be a plus. You got Transatlantic there, 2 starts back, and War Machine's a winner, but Transatlantic's been facing the breeze and wide there. I thought Pier could be the horse at 1,600 that could turn the tables here on Transatlantic. I'd be even more confident if Transatlantic goes to Stratty. I think he'll be definitely the way to play. Demon Darb just looks false in this market. He's probably the least suited coming back to dry, and Cranky Harry's the other horse that I would stick with again. I really liked its first up performance that day, and despite being under different weight conditions than last time, $31 is a pretty big price him. But Pier, you could play 1 by 3, but I'm thinking it's going to be hard to talk GK out of Transatlantic. He's completely in love with his horse.
Well, I haven't been historically, but I am right now. But look, I just think that it's just really hard to beat Transatlantic here. Like, if Maloney gets across and gets a spot and isn't posted, I just think it wins the race. I think Pier is potentially the danger, but what we've found with this horse in general is once it gets 3 or 4 runs under its belt, and we get to 7 to 8 furlongs at Eagle Farm, it's really, really, really difficult to beat. This is just where it does its best work. So look, I think if it's here, it wins the race. I took the price yesterday. Happy to be on.
A couple of dangerous horses from Sydney here, Walt. Like Waterford first up, but the miles all freshen.
Map's dangerous too. There's the Sarah Ryan horses can
Matcha
both sort of
Latte.
kick up under.
Yeah, going good. Unspoken
kicks up when it feels like it. Unspoken's a very, very, very good horse.
Yeah.
It's sort of 20 to 1. It's a big price. Waterford's always dangerous, a punish of a creature. Tenzing's absolutely flying, was completely unsuited last start. So it's not going to be a gimme. And that's probably why, it's just a bit of a nothing race to me. Like Transatlantic's certainly the one to beat. Just you'd love to see the first 400 metres before you took the short odds. That's probably the key to it all. And I agree, Demon Darb's just going to get out. Matchalade's got the Equicast on that hurts it. But it's still an annoying horse to be in the race for Transatlantic. I would imagine just where they're going to settle early. But I agree. Pier I thought was really good. Like the funny part is I could back Pier and Transatlantic. I'd have them probably second and third pick in the Stradbroke. And they're here in this mile race. It's a bit of a shame because in such a diabolical Stradbroke. It looks like it'll be a hard run race. So these are two horses that looks like they'd be really well suited there. So it's a shame that if they do line up in this race, to be honest, but a bit of a no-bet race for me.
It's bloody scary when horses like Transit Lowell, it's a bit of a shame with the way that the stratty's fallen in terms of the qualifying and the ratings and things like that, when you got Transatlantic Pier and then Warney, who looked just super dangerous, and they're all sitting on the bench. Yeah.
We'll get there.
It's a bit of a stinker. All right, so Transatlantic for GK, and then Pier for me and Walt as maybe a value play, but definitely
I'm
looks
greying
like
up there.
racing too. Huh?
I'm too great up there.
We'll see how the scratchings and the fields unfold. But yeah, all of us are heavily against Demon Dub, especially at $5. That's sort of missing a zero for mine. Race number 5 is the Drinkwise Hinkler Handicap. It's a listed event over 1,200 metres and Need Some Luck's favourite here. Snowden Tommy Berry, $2.70. Mullane, $7.50. King Kappa, $8.50. Manhood, $9.50. I Am Unstoppable, $11. I'm Artie, $11. Compelling Truth, $12. Appen Girl, $14. Swiss Exile, $18. Prince of Boom, $20. And the Big Goodbye, $23. And Safe Work and Views, much bigger there. Horse that caught my eye here was Need Some Luck. It sort of missed the kick here. It's in the red with the green colours. You got Infancy in the Australian Bloodstock colours, so it's just getting off its back here. And the Rock Rib wins the race when it was just fence on fire here. It's in the green and gold, the Golan colours. Infancy hits the line really well, but the horse that absolutely smashes the line is Need Some Luck. And wow, very hard to do what it did that day, given the way the pattern was at the Gold Coast. And I was a bit spewing. I thought maybe the bookies had bet $5 here. But yeah, they went up at sort of $2.80, $2.90, $3. And it's sort of sitting around that quote. But I think it's one of the better bets of the day. It looks like there's enough speed up front. And there's no real big superstars in this field for mine. And it just looks like a horse that's really well weighted here. Needs some luck. And Barrier 10 Eagle Farm might be the place to be, GK.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think that run has just, enormous amounts of merit to it. Very hard to make ground down the middle there at the Gold Coast. Just this race sets up perfectly for Need Some Luck. There's a lot of tempo here, and Berry can just sit in behind it and smoke his pipe, and I think he's probably going to be strongest late. Look, one of the values in this race for me is I Am Artie. I think they went up like $18 or something. It's very rare that this horse has been in a race where it's had below, or been in a race like this where it's had sort of below 56, 57. It's generally been going around at 59, 60 kilos, gets in very light here and can sit just in behind that speed. I think it's a danger, definitely an each way chance. So look, I've happily taken the price, Need Some Luck, and I've also had something each way. I Am Artie.
Any different thoughts to us, Walt? Or
no, it's a weird horse. It's a group. It's a group horse. It could be a Group 1 horse. Needs Some Luck, and it's very well named. It's never really had any, and I think it's won how many races? 5 races or something, and it's basically been destroyed nearly every time. The harder the run it gets, the better it goes, and the only time it really hasn't won is when it's been set impossible tasks. So, 54 and a half, yeah, I think if it unfolds the way, most likely it will, good pressure and any sort of trail up, it should just shout sprint them, to be honest. I think something strange would have to happen for it to not be winning.
If the pattern's fair early, I'll be just trying to get as much as I can on this, and probably just be taking multis from today being Thursday for the next couple of days into this horse to try and make him a really big result. Because, yeah, what I see in the puntingform.com.au sectionals, plus my black book notes, is saying this is a must bet and bet heavily for this horse. And I was delighted to hear Peter Snowden give it a push yesterday on the wireless as well. So race,
it's got everything, 1400 form, everything. He had a lovely jubbly. What a good horse she was.
Yes,
one of the few bred in the purple that's got a bit of ability, but I think it'll pick up a better race than this in its career.
Yeah, looks just a prime opportunity. 54 and a half is delicious. Eagle Farm, race 6. Let's get into the quaddie legs here. It's the J.J. Atkins Group 1 1600 metre race. And wow, we get some different conditions here. The big lead up, the size produce, was underwater on that heavy 10 before they abandoned. And Cool Archie was a benefactor of that, and he's come up $3.90 because he's got the picket fence now. He's had his birthday 4 times. $3.90 favourite over Hidden Achievement, $6. Grafter Burners, $8. $8.50 Navy Pilot, Providence $9.50. He's been the big market mover, 26 in since final field. Farnacle $11, Aerodrome $13, Zebra Finch $13, Talk to Be Sure $19, Zitanium 26, and much better the rest. You got horses like Call Da Vinci, who GK's got a soft spot, and horses like The Creek at 100-1. Let's go through the key lead-ups. Walt nearly had his pants off here with Farnacle on the inside in the blue. GK and I were on course. We're all sort of screaming. GK was screaming Call Da Vinci to run a place at 80s and 20s or hundreds and $20 a place. And I was screaming, Timmy, get it to the outside, get it to the outside. And then Martin Harley, who couldn't see but decided he could see, just steers the absolute mudlark Cool Archie through them. And then the purple horse right down the outside sort of gave me a little bit of a sparkle. It was Talk to Be Sure, and I'm sort of hoping that Talk to Be Sure is going to be a different animal back on top of the ground. But I've got the rosary beads out there, I must say. Hidden Achievement and Zebra Finch are in the key lead-up here in the Sydney race, and Zebra Finch is in the Godolphin blue, and to his outside is Hidden Achievement.
Titanium's in front as well. They're all in this. 1, 2, 3. The leader as well, yeah.
Yeah, Titanium.
They're about 8-9 lengths below. They Hippo just made a mistake, probably overconfidence, and
should have led.
He could have sat outside lead 100%, and probably just didn't take the opposition quite as serious as he needed to. I did talk to him. He thought he was going to pick him up on the bend, and it was definitely the last 100 was the best. But that's just an absolute ideal pipe opener run leading into this, I'd say, for horses that want to progress further into their prep.
He has to turn the tables unless something, goes horribly wrong here, and has drawn pretty well. He's drawn barrier 6 and gets Ronald McDonald on, who
blinkers too, which I actually was trying to work out.
Kitchen sink job from Waller.
Yeah, well, I was wondering whose decision that was. It's an interesting one to throw blinkers on that horse, whether they thought it just hit a flat spot there, but it sort of went, I think it went either 13 back to 12 or 12 back to 11 up. Just like it's been sort of a run behind stepping up, and now it gets to the mile. So I'm a little bit surprised they put blinkers on it. But, yeah, obviously it is a very, very important race to this horse and the stable or whatever. It's a year long. It probably is a kitchen sink job.
He's interesting because he's raced at Canterbury, he's Gosford, Rose Hill. He's had a fair bit of work to do, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, his first start was just a barrier trial. Then second start, he was dominant and had to push his way out. And then third start, just beaten by the tempo, really. And like I said, it would have won that race 9 times out of 10 if you could go back in and sort of give Hippo a clip around the ear of in the first 200 metres of the race, just not to be overconfident. And, even then, if they sort of run anywhere near even time, he picks them up anyway. So, I still think that. I may as well tackle. Is that no more replays?
No, we've got one more because
show me this replay.
There's a pretty big market push here for the 1500 metre race last week, where Sunrays wins this in the green and the white, and then Navy Pilots in the maroon, and just sort of causes Providence to shift off its heels. And Providence is the widest in the China Horse Club, and they were pretty negative on that horse. And then he sort of just ducks in behind. Still very raw, start number 2, but Sunray's very good here. Jenny Gone Bonkers second, and then Navy Pilot. So Navy Pilot and Providence are the ones that they've sort of come for. They ran decent time here, and I heard Chris Waller say that he was sort of compelled to throw Providence in this race, given that it was hard to make up ground, and he sort of flagged him as a potential spring champion horse. And my notes after that race were pretty green and probably next preparation. But if they're a little bit more positive, or if some of these don't run the mile, I'm not surprised that he's sort of been back. Like he could just be the last man standing, perhaps.
It looks like they're on the same line of thinking as me, which is that size form may be absolute crap. So they're just looking for
different
anything. Yeah, and when I say crap, it's just taxing. It's very hard to have that preparation and come to this race. And maybe it's not deep either. Sort of, I was just having a look at the depth of the Cool Archie form. It's sort of Farnacle was second up there at a heavy track, was left exposed. He sort of was last man standing. Gallo Nero was a bit disappointing there. All that sort of talk to be sure. Grafter Burners, is it any good? Call Da Vinci, they're sort of going right back through, and even early in its career, like it could just be second-rate form. And, like you're saying, birthdays all the way through, but then it ties in with all that Farnacle form. So, pretty much I'll go first. I'm going down with the ship that the Sydney form's going to be the right form. I think Hidden Achievement will probably win, and the dangers are sort of Zebra Finch seems to be getting to an insane price. That was the first time it had blinkers. I know that was its birthday there, don't get me wrong, but you're getting $15 about a horse that definitely did nothing wrong there. And, sort of Farnacle, I think, has more upside than Cool Archie, and getting to a mile draws ideally to have options. Either Tim takes it up, or there's a couple of Apaches that probably shouldn't be in the race here that'll head forward, and he could take a sit on them if he wanted to. But they're the three I'm sort of hanging my hat on and just going to say. I think Aerodrome can improve, if any horse can improve, but it draws 15 is, again, very difficult. But I think this horse is a pretty good horse, and he's just got a sense of timing, got a sense of preparation, and again, going down with the ship.
Okay,
Hidden Achievement, Zebra Finch, and something small Farnacle. But I've got them coupled in multis to my eyes, bled, and thanks for showing me that replay of Farnacle and watching that 6-figure result jump out the window. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was a bit dirty too. I followed you blindly. GK, how are you going to play it?
I haven't really decided yet, or really what scale I want to get involved in this race. I get the 4 that I'm looking at. Aerodrome, I just, whatever, that previous run just means nothing to me. I think this horse has something, and I like it back on a dry deck. I think from the mile start, you've got 600 metres to turn. I'm just hoping Bayless can just get across. I think he can cross, probably get to, I don't know, maybe he gets OSL, like outside Farnacle or something like that. I think that puts it in the race. Hidden Achievement with J-Mac and blinkers on, that probably does enough to get me in. I think Call Da Vinci's a ridiculous price. I'm not jumping off this horse. It's more of a place bet for me. I don't know if it can win the race, but it's like $8 the place, so I'll probably have something to place. And look, depending on what price Cool Archie gets to, I could potentially save stake. The way I see it is that there's been a lot of narratives against this horse throughout this whole prep, but I've made some of them. It's had fitness edge over horses, and maybe it's a superior wet tracker and all this, but just the thing just keeps running through walls. So, if we got, I don't know, 7-2, $5 or something, I could maybe save stake Cool Archie as well. But they're the 4 I'm looking at, but not a lot of confidence, and probably have, I don't know, 6 or 7 in the quaddie.
I'll be shocked if Hidden Achievement doesn't start favourite. I think you'll get $5 or $6, Cool Archie.
Yeah. I agree with most points you guys have made, and I sort of like a different angle in terms of Aerodrome. To my eye, the last 2 starts with Aerodrome, he doesn't look like he handles the wet at all. If he leads and sort of gets full control, I could see him sort of, doing something different, and I'm trying to find something different here. And I took $41 Providence when there was sort of money for him last week off his debut run. I thought there was something there on debut, and I didn't really want to chime in to the sort of $4 on race day last week, but there was just an avalanche of support. So the stable knows something about this horse. I still think he's very green. He wouldn't surprise me if nothing can run sort of 1,600 metres. This horse can be there. So I can see why there's good money for him. And then Talk to Be Sure is probably the other knockout. I just can't get that run at the Sunshine Coast out of my head where he ran sort of second and was sort of moral beat. And this is a horse that was touted to be in the mix in the Magic Millions, and then Matt Dunn just decided that he wasn't going to rush the horse, so he just put him in at the paddock. And I don't think he's done too much wrong this preparation. He's got that second over 1,000 metres, which is a pipe opener, but he just has the perfect preparation back to the dry and the breed. Like, he's by Seamus Award as well. So at $21, Talk to Be Sure, I still think he's a massive, he's a real backable price. So, yeah, I'm going to look outside the square here and probably take on Cool Archie. And, the boys are sort of edging me into a saver bet on Hidden Achievement, only because I'm on Talk to Be Sure and Providence at great odds. I'll probably have to just cover up on Hidden Achievement and then put the race to bed without doing any more work on it for the rest of the next couple of days, because it's half a stinker, the race. I love it, but I don't want to give it more energy.
It's a full stinker, but that's why it's so good. You got like that Navy Pilot. They look like they're going up and down the one spot. Like, it just looked like a midweek race, didn't it?
The way Cool Archie got through that ground, he's just a complete duck versus the other horses. So the starting point is you
can't knock him. I agree with GK. You can't knock him, but you got to go looking.
I'm laying him.
It's just the price. It's just the price, right? Yeah, like if you get $5, $6, well, it's a different story, right?
Yeah. And he's gone off at massive odds the last couple of starts, so you've missed the boat on him, haven't you?
And whatever, and all Munster's horses are going through brick walls, but that hasn't been showing up in betting a lot lately. Like, a lot of them are quite soft, so it's weird, but I think it'll happen again.
He's not really a popular camp, though, is he?
He is for me. He is for me when he's in this sort of form. Holy cow, he's just nearly bet blind.
Oh, gosh. Eagle Farm, race 7. It's the Magic Millions Dane Ripper Group 2 over 1,300 metres, and Firestorms open up favourite, so... Chris Waller's decided to scratch and head this way with grand final day being the Tats Tiara. $4.20 in from 5. Valencia $6. Floozy $6. Tashi $8. City of Lights $9.50. Elmore Zillow $12. Konasana $13. Coco Jambu $13. Arctic Glamour $14 a bounding $15. And then you got 27 Comrade Rosa, Coco Sun, Gumdrops, and Red Defcon rounding out the market. Let's have a couple of looks at some trials here. And Firestorm's the second horse here in the checkers with the red and the yellow and the blue sleeves. And that's Private Eye winning the trial. And 900's not her cup of tea. She sort of stokes up. I think her last 100 metres is good. Importantly, she's a bomb first up horse. I think she won the Millie Fox first up, and she's just got this devastating turn of foot. So if they go along,
back up the inside's had a run, so it's half race fit. Starman, so I think had 2 or 3 trials, so pretty much. And I think that was Private Eye's 4th or 5th trial. So yeah, they were all pretty fit in front of it. Remember last time, we were on the stablemate Scarlet, whatever, and she nearly dead set hurdled it. She went
Scarlet Oak.
Yeah, she dead set nearly jumped over the top of it. She was going that good first up, so she definitely is a bomb. Does scare me that he didn't want to run in the Stradbroke, but maybe he did want to have it absolutely right for the Tats, and it does look like it's going to be not a gimme race, but a very winnable race. And
perfect storm for
it. It does scare you that scratching from the Stradbroke, maybe she's just having a look around, but she can probably win this just having a look around if she gets the right run in transit.
Well, I think we backed her in the Epsom
Doncaster.
We smashed her at 40s into $9,
and the track was cast, wasn't it? And she was just set too big a task from back in the field. That's always a drama, but maybe like her best form has been fresh, and she always looks like she's going to get more ground and whatever. It's she's just a very, very, very good horse.
And finally got a rider on. She's carried a couple over the last couple of starts. Alencia is the next trial we're going to have a look at in the Denise Martin Purple and Stars. Got no room to move here, but really well held and trucks.
There's
and obviously
the Mighty World Alliance down the outside. Oh, what a horse he is.
And then you got Diddle Dumpling in the white with the Jerry Harvey colours, the white and the blue there with the big baldy face. But this is a nice one, and she's quite a classy animal, close up in the Coolmore over 1,500. So this could be her grand final, like a sneaky Waller. This is your turn to win, and Firestorms will win next time. That's my worry. Barrier 3, they'll put her into the race, $6. I can see her being dangerous. And the other horse we'll reference here is Abounding. We've seen this replay a couple of times. And speaking of baldy faces, the blue colours, the first light colours, tough run here last time, GK, but she didn't shirt the task, did she?
No, absolutely not. And I just like the way that she kept fighting through the line here. I thought it was really good through the line, finishes alongside Transatlantic. We know that that's good form now, and we know that they're in the wrong part of the track. I just thought that was a really encouraging run for next start. And yeah, I think she's right in this race.
Yeah, it looks like it's a big price at $15.
I've had a little poke at trying to get them to go straight to the front.
Who?
I think it can go straight to the front in this race.
Abounding?
Yeah.
And be very, very hard to run past.
Very hard to beat.
Yeah. Oh, that gets me more
No confirmation there. It's just me having a stab in the dark trying to put a thought in their mind, because gate 13, she could end up anywhere, but there's literally no speed, and a little jab in the ribs, and I think she's got as much early toe as anything here. And now that she's ready to go third up,
hard
Group
fit
2,
wouldn't you?
It's definitely worth a shot at the title rather than trying to out-sprint horses like Firestorm from the back. So hopefully they agree with me.
Yeah, horses like, I guess, Tashi, Floozy sort of go forward naturally, and then hopefully...
They're not fast, are they? No. They all want a box seat. They all want cover particularly, so they'll all sort of bounce and then look. So hopefully, and I tell you, Jason Collett is dead set one of the best leading riders in the country. He doesn't like doing it. But when he does, when he puts his mind to it, he can definitely get a horse out of the gates. He can definitely rate a race beautifully, and he knows what to do when he's controlled it. So, hopefully they watch this show too. I know last time I saw Rob Heathcote, he was going to headbutt me at one of those Magic Millions Betfair things that you organise. But, I think we've got that in the past, haven't we? Hopefully, especially after Saturday when this leads all the way.
Yeah, and I'm not related to him anyway for the 18th time. I think we're going to just skip past that one. So it's Firestorm Alencia with the class edge, but we think Abounding is great value, and the desk is starting to rise here because if they do go forward...
it's one of those lottery races. Like Alencia, Firestorm, City, you can make half cases for everything, but it's just Abounding's one horse. You can build the narrative, and it's a big price. And in these mares races, I love to do that, just to try and find one. Even little Elmore Zillow with Timmy on from the wide draw could get a little jab in the ribs early and be up there as well. They're probably the two I think are the value, and I don't think she's the best horse in the race at all, Elmore Zillow. I think it's just whoever takes advantage of the slow tempo can sort of pinch a couple of lengths here.
We all might be locked up. We all might be in the GK Guantanamo Bay jumpsuits if Abounding wins. So give her strength because that price is absolutely massive. Yeah, she's
especially now that you're getting the boosts over there, mate. I see you got boost prices now, so you must be getting even more excited when you got the boost.
Mate, ever since moving out and Politely Done got beat, I'm greenlit everywhere, which is it's good to be back, but it's been expensive. Eagle Farm race number 8 is the Star Stradbroke Group 1. It's a 1,400 metre race. I'm not sure how the Star are going, but I'm probably edging them out slightly. And the favourite here is War Machine. And I tell you what, Walt's pulled the shift here. I don't know what's happened here.
No, this is not my doing. He sent me a message early in the week and I was like, whoa, how'd you do that?
Wow. Tim Clark has weaseled his way in and got the ride, 53 kilos. So poor old Craig Williams would be crying in his Wheaties. $3.20 favourite War Machine, Talk of Town for the last month. $8.50 Golden Mile, $11 Rise at Dawn, Komochi $14, the Instructor $14, Jet Stanley on. Front Page has gone on the backup. They paid $9 to get the race. Can you believe it? $15. Private Eye $16. Rothfire gets J-Mac. $16 off the Stone Brews. Transatlantic might sneak into the field if there's one more scratching. $17 gets Ans Jones. Bazustu $18 off a massive fail. Inflictor $18. Desert Lightning into $19. Warney. Wow, $21 but won't get a run. Robusto, $26, Far Too Easy, $26. Payline, $31. You got Yellow Brick, Coleman out the gate. This is a race with a big tail if War Machine fails. But we've seen the replay a couple of times here. What I really liked about this War Machine run, though, was he's just got the tactical speed early. He's got the big accelerator. I think the high pressure of the Stratty's going to be right up his alley. He was really good in that crazy Golden Eagle or Silver Eagle or whatever that stupid prize money race was at Rose Hill. He went real good around the horses like Lake Forest, which are world class. I did like the run late, the sneaky good run of Far Too Easy. Once he finally got some sort of clear air there, he gets a bit of a weight swing on War Machine, and he spiked up after a pretty average first up run, maybe a clean out, but he's a big improver, I thought. Yellow Brick needs to improve a lot from there. Coleman actually showed something last start and now gets right down in the weights, down to, about 50 kilos, 51 kilos. So it was good to see him finally do something for the rusted on Coleman fans, i.e. Walt and myself. But the next couple of replays we're going to have a look at is Komochi, Golden Mile, Rise at Dawn and Payline in the Jolie Star race. And gosh, I was sort of screaming at the TV with Zerastro saying, hold on, hoping that Ange could just find a way. I was pretty happy that Golden Mile was the only thing chasing him, and heaven forbid he's Jolly Star. But I'm not sure about this race, and I just don't know if she needed the full clean out Komochi there. But if she had shown a little bit more, I'd be a lot keener. Payline's a forgive there, had a bungled start, but from a ratings perspective, GK, how do you think Komochi's going as a danger there?
Look, I think if you just factor in how hard it was to make ground there, that's more than a pass mark. I thought Komochi was really good through the line there. So I just think now when you get the drop in weight and also just where Komachi draws. For me, it looks, if it's not the perfect spot, which maybe War Machine gets, it's pretty close to it, where there's just so much tempo in this race. Like there's more tempo in this Stradbroke than almost any that I can remember, yet it's also one of the weakest, which is a weird combination of being weak, but also having enormous tempo. And I just think that Komachi is going to get into the right spot. So it has to be one that at least I'm covering, and it's one that I think is going to be advantaged by what the race shape is.
Desert Lightning and Transatlantic have the awkward task of going 1,500 back to 1,400. Maybe if it's the breakneck speed, it's less of a disadvantage here. But wow,
it's not a disadvantage. It's a strong advantage.
Yeah.
I would say.
When he sort of idled up here, you probably had a big chubby because you gave him a massive push, and I thought it was a massive effort with 61 kilos, Desert Lightning.
It come from a length behind Transatlantic on the bend and had to cut up the inside and sort of put 2 on it. It really looked like it was home. And yeah, there's 2 different. When you're coming back in distance, you probably want a horse that's a little bit more a turn of foot sort of horse, like Transatlantic as a rule. When sort of more one-paced horses, a bit like Desert Lightning, come back in trip, it's a little bit trickier unless they're going to find a sort of loose lead or a spot behind a fast tempo where they can flow into the race. So that's my problem with Desert Lightning, and I'd much rather back Transatlantic in this race than Desert Lightning, but I can definitely see it being suited by, and it just has to be a ridiculous speed, because not only is there 8 leaders, they're all one-dimensional leaders. They're all one-paced, fast horses that can't do anything but run quickly. That's all they've got. If they don't go forward, they're 1,000,000 to 1. So yeah, it's a very weak race, and there's not many horses set up to run a strong 1,400. You're looking for milers in this race. You got Private Eye first up off 4 trials. It's one horse that can run a mile. Desert Lightning back in trip is well set up. Komochi's fit enough and has the class, so it has to be there. Far Too Easy is the other one. And then you go into horses like Robusto and things like that are horses that can probably, and it's first up. So, the favourite by default looks it's a hard way to see it getting beat, really. Isn't it? Like it's one of those horses that just looks like it's, no matter what happens to it, as long as it's something, it doesn't get stuck 5 wide or knocked over or bad luck, it's going to present the winner at some point. It's just got that sense of timing, beautifully prepared, down in the weights. It's the Stradbroke and just the way tempo is going to be. But it could get ugly. I think Far Too Easy, $26 big price. Desert Lightning's about right, 21. Private Eye, 16's about right. Komochi's probably a touch of value, 16. They're the horses that, to me, that can be dangerous if War Machine has no luck. I've never been a War Machine fan, but he just presents beautifully for probably the weakest Stradbroke you'll ever see. So, and the speed and everything just is ideal for it. So it's probably a race I'd rather just mess around with the quaddie, to be honest, and probably throw them all in and hope War Machine gets jammed and I can laugh at Tim at the end of the day. But I think he's got a very good chance of taking home a Stradbroke on Saturday.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. I agree. If War Machine gets clear out, he's the horse to beat, but similar dangers to both guys. GK and Walt have absolutely nailed it, so can't add any more. The only thing I did was have a peanut on Coleman at 80s when it fell into the field.
You know it's going to win. He scratched Firestorm to get in the race. It's been going like a bustard. It went better the other day, but
7 kilo drop.
It's going to improve 10 lengths somehow and just explode. You're just going to go too good.
But this is
too good, Uncle Chris.
When you look back through his prep, this is the grand final all along.
Yes, but
3-year-old
you
Colt.
can't go as I don't know.
Oh, he's got.
Who beat him the other day? It was a good result. Who won the race? I can't even remember.
No, that was the GK. Cosmic Fire won it.
Yeah, Cosmic Fire race. Bless
race.
his heart. But like Cosmic Fire, yeah. Anyway, and he was like the best weighted horse in the history of racing that day. It can't win, but it can win because the brick wall theory. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Can't wait for it.
I think there's 6 chances. Like that's what I've got it down to. But it's like that's kind of making the case away from War Machine. Like I've got War Machine 7-4. So like whatever you want to call it, 275, right? I think that's about the right price. It's that's factoring bad luck, really. Then if Transatlantic made the field, I'd have Transatlantic second favourite. I'd have it single figures, around $8. And then I think the only other hopes are Private Eye, Komochi, Desert Lightning, and I think Payline is Forgive and can probably. I can't imagine it winning at 1400, but who knows? At least it's going to get the tempo, and maybe they'll just try to suck up along the rail and try to get a run like that, and maybe that's a knockout.
Great race.
No, it's actually not. It's not. At least the horses we've talked about, apart from the favourite, and even the favourite, seemingly is a little bit of value. So it's not. It's not like we're
great puzzle.
We've got 5 horses that are 9-2. Take your pick. They're all sort of 15-1 apart from the favourite. So it's actually not a bad betting race. It's
cracking.
It's just not a deep Stradbroke field.
We say it all the time. It's a great betting race because
and
it's
then we
handicap.
go to the deepest race in the history of racing for $1.2 million.
Yeah,
that's the last.
Let's get to it.
I think this should be called the Bubble and Squeak Stakes.
Oh, it's it's
where you get all the shit in your fridge and throw it in the race, whatever's left at the end of a long weekend, isn't it? Isn't that what the Bubble and Squeak is? This is the Bubble and Squeak $1.2 million stakes.
Yeah, it's Eagle Farm Race 9. It's the Hong Kong Jockey Club Whirlpool Group 2 Q22 22 100 metres.
It's the Richie Benno handicap.
Little shout out to DK, who's on ice for the next month. Let's have a look at the odds here.
Tell we're pumped for this race.
$2.40 Faulkner Park, $11 Bois de Jean, $4.60 Militarised, $5.50 Kovalika, New Endeavour $5, Banker's Choice $23, $10 Osipenko, Artful Girl $151. Replay we're going to have a look at here is the Doomben Cup, GK, Declared Antino, Faulkner Park Chasing in the Bennett Racing colours, Indian Foley coming in after this horse, Militarised, Bois de Jean's there, they're all there, GK.
Yeah, Slovalika. Just doing what it does, getting that gap up the inside. Look, you look at this replay. Personally, I think there's only 2 chances. I think it's Faulkner Park and it's Militarised. I actually really like the way Militarised finished the race off. I thought that was actually really encouraging. Now we draw low, we get J-Mac, and I just think he's going to be more positive in the run. I think he's going to be in front of Faulkner Park. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. I took the early price Militarised, and I'll lean back on Faulkner Park. And that's it. That's the race for me.
Yeah, this is just a classic Waller. I'm going to put J-Mac on, now drawn barrier 1 and put it in the race, where this horse jumps cleanly all the time and they never put it in the race. It's just, if you're a Militarised odds backer, like backing him at sort of 20s and 30s, which I'm guilty of every day, that ends in sort of Y, this sort of just breaks my heart because here he comes out. I can see GK's angle here, and he just trots in at $4.60, and I can't touch the horse at that price. But this is just a Waller Righto job for me, and it's.
It was a disgusting ride last start. That was just disgusting.
Oh.
He just gave it absolutely. How can you go 20 above and never get put in the race? Like Antino and that have taken off at the 800 because the rest of them are gone, and old mate waited another 600 to give it into the race. But it's hard to get your head around Militarised running 2,200 metres, but I could not possibly back Faulkner Park to beat it off that replay. So in isolation, and Faulkner Park's got to be beaten up. Like, he's got to have more upside than Faulkner Park, and you're getting 4 times the price. So yeah, I thought it might be a sneaky little bit better price, but it's still sort of, I think there still is each way odds around. That doesn't exist anymore. But Militarised to me stands out like dog's paws. That New Endeavour last race has to be no good, surely. Has to be horrible. They're going to run along. Bois de Jean doesn't know how to go any other speed than quick, I think, and its only chance to win the race is to bust them up a bit. New Endeavour has to work in the run, chasing it. And, I agree. I think, Faulkner Park's obviously got a very good chance of winning the race, but the only horse he could possibly back's Militarised.
Yeah, it looks an easy bet to have unless you're scarred like me.
Come on, mate.
Good old Chrissy Waller.
This is a different one. He's only had 4 starts, this horse. This is gelded Militarised.
Oh.
He's only had 4 starts or something like that. Neville No Nuts now.
Yeah, he's better on the wet though, I think.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. He's better on the wet. But that track's like a swamp anyway. It's like swampy swamper. It doesn't matter if it's a 2 or a 12.
Yeah, if I over lead by this stage, I'll pile in. I'm a sicko.
You've got a lead.
Yeah.
What does it matter? What if you're on the Chevy?
Nah, I'll be at the pub. All right, at Brizzy Form Guide is where you can find GK stuff. You can jump in his Discord and talk Brisbane, Queensland racing 24/7. It's a happy little place at the moment after the mini Christmas in June, July Derby Day washout. All the boys are still selling stories from that day, which is good fun, but looks like a real punter's day at Eagle Farm. So I think a few of those shorties in the market you can follow with confidence. So make sure you get around it this Saturday at Eagle Farm, and it'll be fascinating to see what happens back to the dry deck. So just be careful if you've been backing all those swampy horses. Walt, you're giving Rose Hill a bit of the Chaminda. So for the early listeners,
So bad.
we're going to have a look at Gosford on Thursday. And there's a little clue in one of the replays earlier on because we've found the Lakey Legends benchmark 64 over 1200. Burge has come up favourite 2.60 for Team Snowden.
6-horse races at Gosford, much more my speed.
Well, this is good. Diddle Dumpling, $3.40. Power Ballad with 61 kilos, $4.80. Cool Lad, $6, $7 Ready Rocket. And then you got Miss Car Tour, $12. I've always had a big opinion of this horse, Diddle Dumpling. Can just find some traffic and some bad luck in her races. But as we mentioned before, here's a Lentia in the purple, with the stars. And Diddle Dumpling's just smoking in the Jerry Harvey with the big baldy face, the blue and the white. And once she gets clear at the near the winning post here, she just sort of zooms through the line, World Alliance on the outside, as Walt said earlier. But back to benchmark 64 grade, she will take a heck of a lot of beating today, and $3.40 looks beautiful.
Yeah, she's had 11 starts. We might as well. I've only got one race to talk about, so we'll go right back. Why not? 3 legs to Manal, looks all right. 1.8 to Anisa, Lady of Camelot, looks all right, and the Percy Sykes. Then a sort of last run of the prep behind Ikasara, then comes back. You think, oh, well, she's in a 3-year-old filly's maiden. Yeah, she runs into Aliana there and beats home Gangster Granny by about 3 lengths. Then goes to had no luck. I don't know what happened last. So something that was led or something weird happened at Kembla. I think it was. I can't remember what happened, to be fair. Then runs into I Captain, second, no worries. Then goes to the Reginald Allen and runs into Aliana, Dominetta, and those horses beaten a length and a half. Finally broke the maiden at Hawkesbury pretty dominantly. I think Josh rode her that day. Then ran into sort of benchmark 72, and I think whatever that class was, a fillies and mares sort of feature race up on the Gold Coast. But she's definitely better earlier in her preps, I think. So last prep, that first up run on what was a 7, but it was more like a 10 or 11. I don't think that really helped her for the rest of her prep. As you can sort of see, she's come back really well. This race in particular, a couple of scratchings I think nice because there's only 2 horses with any speed. Burge is an interesting horse because it sort of led all the way in good style and sort of ran time of a city horse on debut. And if it was a loose leader here, I'd be really worried. But you've got Molly on Gay's horse, Power Ballad, who is just one-dimensional. It's just fast. So I'm just hoping they sort of carve each other enough and Nash trialled her there. And then when Nash sticks, usually with horses from trials to first up, I really like it. So, I'm balls deep in the Nash double, the Nash Gerald and Sterling double of Diddle Dumpling in the last here into Just Party in the first on Saturday. So that's my go for the weekend early, and then trebling up into Hidden Achievement and those horses. So, we'll see how we go. But we've got to get Diddle Dumpling over the line first. It should be ridden a little bit quiet, but she does have a really nice turn of foot. And I think she's, like 5-2 sort of seems crazy to me. It should be even money.
Yeah. If you like her, this is a great race for her, and I like her. So let's bet. Let's get sorted Thursday and steam in. I've taken a little bit of Diddle Dumpling into Need Some Luck on Saturday. So hopefully we get a little bit of luck, but drawn 6, she should be
that's another
in
good
clear
horse,
air.
in that multi-horse. Need some luck.
Yeah. All right. Walt's Discord chat is racingwatch.com.au, or you can get his Telegram service. So if you like New South Wales racing, that's the best place to find all his analysis. Big thanks from us to RQ, Racing Queensland, and puntingform.com.au. Make sure you give those guys a try as well when you are sifting through the form. Makes life a breeze for me. But that's a wrap from us, and hopefully we have a big fill up this weekend.
Cheers, guys. Good luck.
Cool. Good luck, GK.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. We'll see you next week.